We're going to be replacing this Kohler, basically rebuilding this Kohler toilet, the rear tank in it. This is a super nice toilet, but we have a little problem where we live, where we get quite a bit of sand and things like that that come through our water. And unfortunately it's caused this toilet to just run all the time, and you have to kind of jiggle the handle to get it to stop. We've also had some issues with this getting plugged up with sand and just not filling, and I've taken this apart and cleaned it a few times, but for the price of parts, I went ahead and I'm just going to rebuild the whole thing. So this particular one, there's two sizes. There's a 3-inch and a 2-inch. You'll have to just look at yours to see how it's shaped, and you'll be able to tell that they're shaped quite a bit differently. So this one here is a 3-inch. As you can see, it looks very similar. And then I'm just going to replace the fill valve as well. Each of these was about $20, so it's about $40 in parts to rebuild. Basically, first step, obviously, shut your water off down here. I've already done that. You flush the toilet, get as much out as you can. There's still going to be a few inches of water in there, so I used a cup and then just a towel to try to get it as empty as I could so that I don't spill a bunch of water when I take this apart. But as you can see, there's these three black dots right here. These are the back sides of the bolts that hold this to the rest of the toilet. So what we're gonna do is come underneath here and unbolt those. See if I can get in. There's 3 of those guys right there. So we're gonna unscrew from here. You probably won't have this T-valve. It'll probably just be here to here. So we'll unscrew that after we get this disconnected. Make sure you got towels or a bucket or something nearby. You're definitely going to spill a little bit of water. And then take those 3 nuts off the bottom, and then this whole tank will just lift off, and then we can rebuild it from the bottom. All these pieces are fastened from the bottom side. If you're only doing the fill valve, you don't have to take this whole tank off. You can just do that from right here. That's what this whole piece is that this hose screws into. So you can just undo it and replace it right there in place. But most of the time, it's the flush valve or the drain valve that causes the running. This seal in here gets debris or sand. Sometimes you can clean it. I've cleaned this one a few times and we're just done with it, so I'm just going to replace it, but the whole thing has to come off because this goes straight into the back of the rest of the toilet. So I'm going to take these 3 off, get this tank flipped over. I'm probably just going to throw a towel down on top of this seat so I can just flip the tank and set it right here. So I'll be right back. So here's how it looks once you get it flipped over. So basically it's as easy as just unscrewing these few things. So you'll unscrew this, you might need some pliers or something, and then you can see there's a big hex head here that holds the flush valve in place. Alright, so you're going to need yourself a pretty good sized pair of channel locks or something similar, but I already got that one. Just unscrewed it, the whole unit came out. Now this one, I'm basically just, these aren't super tight, but they're just kind of awkward to grab, so you basically just want to get a bite on it and crack it loose, and then you should be able to do the rest by hand. So just like that. So now that that's off, we can take the rest of this little seal here apart. So as you can see, it's got like a Teflon washer inside. I think we're probably going to end up reusing this piece because according to the picture here, it looks like that just comes with the inside bits. I'll have to see once I get that box open. Alright, so that just came right out. So as you can see, this is kind of how that unit works. So it's hard to say if it was leaking here. This gasket's pretty gummy, so it very well may have been, or the more likely scenario, as you can see, it's kind of chewed up in there from sand or just use. It's more likely that this seal here was not getting a good seal. As you can see, it's starting to eat that gasket there. So that's most likely the problem, is that ring right there. And I'm sure you could probably find that ring, but for the price, for 20 bucks, I'm just going to replace this whole unit. As far as this little chain goes, there's just a little spring clip that holds it to the handle, so just undo that guy. So next we're going to clean everything up as much as we can. Get some baby wipes or some wet rags or something and clean that up as much as we can. Clean up the inside. I'm gonna take this, hose it out, get all the sand and everything out of it, and make sure we got a clean surface, and then we'll start putting it back together. Well, it wouldn't be a DIY project without a couple extra trips to the hardware store, right? Turns out the 3-inch was not the right size, so we're going back to get the 2-inch. Alright, so as you can see, there's two different styles here. So at first glance I thought mine was the wider one, but after having it out I noticed that mine has this taper like this. So I think this kit is gonna be what we need. So I still think we're gonna have to reuse that under seal instead of this one that comes with it, but just so those holes and stuff don't leak and it's still in good shape. So we'll go ahead and reuse that, but this is the guy that we're gonna grab. Actually, on second thought, they've got a new one of those seals right here. I think I'll just grab it. Old versus new. You can see they're the same. Obviously this one isn't squished yet. The seal is feel much better about. So this one comes with the chain and everything pre-attached. So the only thing to be careful of, well, I guess it doesn't matter, this thing free floats. So we'll just set that in from the inside. We're going to use our new gasket that we got here. Suck it down and go from there. Alright, so the new one's all installed from the bottom. I'll show you the top as well. This new gasket just pushes into these holes. So we're not going to be using this gasket that came with the kit. This one replaces that gasket. So it also comes with new bolts, and so we'll put those in from the top, and then I'm going to go ahead and install the new fill valve pretty much the same way. The fill valve does have an orientation, so you just kind of have to pay attention to you know, how everything lines up in there before you torque that down all the way. And I can do that one with the tank upright. So I'll probably get it in there and get it started, set the tank upright, get it mounted, and then adjust it from there. Okay, so we're all installed here. These are gonna suck down. So you don't want to over torque this, but you just want to kind of hand tighten those studs under there until you start to get some, you'll feel it, it'll start to kind of give you some resistance. And what happens is these suck down with that gasket that we shoved through there, and it essentially swells up and creates a water seal. So next we have this. Now this can really sit in any orientation between here and here. The other one sat about like this, and as long as it doesn't interfere with your handle, you'll be all right. But we have this hose bib here, and it comes with these different size nipples for different size hoses or whatever here. So the previous one was gray, so I'll probably just end up using that. And it comes with this new hose here. So this hose is going to essentially just connect the two. The problem is that this hose might be just a little too long in its natural state, so you could kind of get away with extending some length by rotating that a little bit, but we might just end up cutting this down. But it kind of has to make a 90-degree angle, so we'll put that on first, and then I think we'll probably just end up doing something like that and it'll be just fine. Alright, so that worked out really well. I didn't have to trim it or anything. Ended up orientating this about right here. I tightened it down because I hadn't had it tight before, so torqued that down right there. Now this thing should hold water, so basically just need to attach this chain here, hook up my water hose, and we'll turn the water on and see what happens. Check for leaks. Okay, here goes nothing. We're gonna turn the water on, clean up. Come down here and checking this seam, make sure we're not leaking anything. Looks nice and dry. We're not dumping anything on the ground. Not leaking out of this hose. So we'll let it fill up. We'll give it a couple tests. You can adjust the water height with this screw here. So if you feel like it's not enough water or it's too much water, you can adjust this float stop up and down a little bit just by twisting this guy right here. But we'll let it fill up, we'll test it, and then if it's done, then we're done. Alright, so I did have to adjust this a little bit. So to the right is more water, to the left is less water. I ended up adding just a little bit more water, just to kind of get it similar to where it used to sit. But yeah, you just give it a flush and this she works. So we're done. We'll put the back plate back on, or the lid back on, and we have a freshly rebuilt toilet. Thanks for watching.